in the challenge to solve the puzzle of putting back-to-back really good games together, getting rid of that inconsistency? Is there a way that you focus on that in the early going tonight? What do you do?
I don't know what it is. I think you just got to go out and focus on the job at hand and be ready to go. Yeah.
Can you build on that win in Boston, what you guys did there? Is that key? Try and build on that?
Yeah, I mean, we just it was kind of a grinding win, hard-working win. Kind of a win that we haven't been able to find a way to win in the past. I mean, those one-goal tight games that we found a way to lose a lot this year. We found a way to get a timely goal early in the third and hold on to it. Yeah, he's probably one of my favorite teammates I've ever had. A guy that cares about his team, works hard. I mean, you see what he did in the American League. You get sent down after being third overall pick. I mean, it's easy to kind of hang your head, and what he did in the American League, work hard and put a run together like that, and he gets rewarded getting called up. You're happy to see. Yeah, good for him. It was kind of three classic Binksy goals, just finding ways to get open and get the shot through. So, good for him.
Peter suggested that some of the inconsistencies with
back to that level. Do you think this group maybe might have thought that what happened last year was going to come, maybe not easily, but would come kind of naturally as the season began?
No, I don't think anyone thought it was going to be easy, and I think people forget that the expectations, we didn't put those on ourselves. I mean, that was kind of media and fans, and we expected our team to be good as well, and we haven't been, and find a way to dig ourselves out of it.
On a lighter note, I understand you're getting some advice from the state lady.
Ways to string a couple good games together and bank in some points. So, tonight we have a good chance to do that.
Is there Todd used the term the other day, skating for yourself versus skating for your teammates. And what do you interpret that to mean, and what do you think the difference is between those two things?
Well, I talked to Todd, and I think it got blown out of proportion a little bit. I don't think he meant it the way that a few people picked that up at all. So, I think again, when I'm skating and I'm moving my feet, that's when I'm at my best. And the shift to center, allows me to do that a little more.
I feel like it's
Cass.
Thought on going up against your brother, the second time, it can be exciting to go up and this.
Yeah, I mean, biggest stage in the world for us. I mean, we grew up wanting to play in the NHL as kids. It's our dream, and
It's pretty surreal. I think, my parents, obviously, tough game for them to watch. They don't know who to cheer for or what's going on. But, for us, it's a little bit of a, reward of our accomplishments and a little bit of a, cool thing to, remember. And experience that a lot of people really wish they had, probably brothers growing up, and we're lucky enough to experience it. So it'll be fun. And, both teams obviously pretty desperate, so it adds a little extra jam to the game.
What kind of brotherly advice do you give? Sorry.
Not much. He's obviously lighting it up down there in the American League, and hopefully he has a good game, but we win like 5-1 or 5-2 or something like that, and he gets a goal. So obviously these games are a little bit weird for me. I think the last one was obviously a little bit awkward, but it's a good experience, and definitely one of the cooler moments in my career.
Is it easier that this is the second one?
I don't think so. I think it's always going to be weird in my opinion, but my parents aren't here, which is probably a little bit easier on both of us, just a little less pressure. But it's definitely it's weird. That's for sure.
Most parents have a favorite. They'll reluctantly not admit that. Might it be you, in your opinion?
You know what? I think at this point, my parents are rooting for the Oilers tonight. I think the Oilers need a big win here, and but having said that, he's just got called up, so he needs to have a good game. So I don't know. I'm torn. My parents don't do good at media scrums either, so I would never throw them in this fire. But I don't know. It's definitely weird for them. I remember last year I scored, and my mom was like crying and celebrating. My brother was a minus. It was like, it's got to be a mix of emotions for them, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He's first-year pro hockey player. He's leading the American Hockey League in scoring. I think everyone needs to take a deep breath, and he's a good player, and he's going to have a long career. I mean, when he was that age, I hadn't even played in the NHL yet, so he's obviously a lot farther ahead than I was, and he's going to be a heck of a player. And I think sometimes it's just staying the course. Obviously, everyone takes a different path to get to where they want to go, and I think he understands that. I mean, I don't really think they look at who we're playing, but definitely cool for us. And, like I said, nice for my parents. I mean, if they're going to stay up for the late games on the East Coast, they might as well watch both at the same time. So it's pretty neat.
Last week when Dallas and Montreal played, Jordy Grant took a run at his brother. Is that
were forechecking. You know, it seemed like there wasn't a lot against Buffalo. There was a lot more against Boston. I mean, it's easy to say you got to do it more, but just what are some of the things you need to do to generate more time in the offensive zone? Where does that start for you?
Well, we forechecked better in Boston than we did in Buffalo. You know, that could be directed at two different things, two different teams, how they defended, the ice that we created. But I think our mindset was a little more north-south and a little more direct against Boston than it was against Buffalo. We put pucks in areas that we needed to. And in my opinion, we sustained the attack time a lot longer. We weren't one and out. There are nights when we forecheck and we forecheck well, but it dies right away and it comes out of the zone. A good forecheck sustains it. It keeps the team pinned in the other team's end for prolonged periods, tires them out. We had a lot more of that in Boston than we did in Buffalo.
Does that start though with a dumping? Does it start with body position?
Well, there's a lot of 5 pieces in my mind qualify for a good forecheck. You can't do it with 4. So every player that's on the ice has to participate in some way, shape, or form. It usually starts with puck placement. You know, it can be an area placement, it can be a rim. There has to be some predictability to it so the other 4 pieces can react to it. You have to work into position. You can't glide into position. And it's often done in layers. So if the first guy does his job, the second layer has an opportunity at success. And if the second layer does its job, the third layer, which is often your D-men, reap the rewards of the first 2 layers doing their success. And when we're playing well, all those layers and all those pieces are doing what they need to do.
Todd, the numbers on your power play that stands out to me, Leon Draisaitl led your team last year with 10 goals, 27 points. He doesn't have a point yet through 20 games and still has a lot of even strength, but he only has 6 shots. Does he need to be more selfish? Do they need to get him the puck more? What are you seeing maybe specifically in how Draisaitl's being involved in the power play that's different this year than how it was last year when he and that unit was so successful?
A lot of Leon's success last year came off of rebounds and high tips. And teams are doing a good job of taking that away. They do pre-scout as far as the high tip scenario goes. And when the high tip is taken away, usually the top's open for a shot. And we haven't done a good job of when one closes using the secondary one. And if you think about where a lot of Leon's goals came from, they came from rebounds. So the shot has to get to the pads to get the rebound if the high tip isn't there. And, you know, he's got to make a few more decisions, sometimes selfish ones of shooting the puck, sometimes a little bit quicker, but that can be said for our group as a whole. Our numbers were actually trending quite good over the last few games. They've dropped a little bit. One thing that doesn't happen a lot for our team is get many opportunities. So when we get 1 or 2 a night, we better make them count.
Todd, Ryan Strome's going up against his brother today. He's pretty excited about that. But I wanted to ask you about Ryan Strome's game. And is it trending up, as you just said? Do you like what you're seeing from him now, or do you still need a little bit more from him?
I think it's trending up. I think he's finally felt comfortable in and around our group, the coaching staff, which it always takes time to adjust. Some get it right away, some a little bit longer. I'd say he's right in the middle of it all. But he has been around the puck a lot more. He's using his shot. You saw it the other night. He's got a very good shot. He's using it more. I think he's understanding how we want to play the game. And he's been more effective over the last little bit.
There's some games where this team looks really good, and then a very short time later, they just don't look like the same team at all. What's going on in that situation that they can't get that consistency level there? Is that a mental thing, or is it a physical?
Well, that's a question. I was asked every second day for the last 3 weeks that same question. Obviously, because win one, lose one. And if we have lost, we haven't played poorly all the time. Sometimes the other team comes in and plays a good game, and you just don't have it some nights. But we are inconsistent. I think that's a mindset, one where individually we have to accept some responsibility of bringing it night after night. Then that pours into the collective group of starting games off the right way, feeling good about your game and building it as it goes on rather than chasing it all the time. And that inconsistency shows up when we're chasing games quite often.
Todd, you made a comment the other night, and maybe if you can just clarify, talk about a player that skates for himself versus skating for his team. and how that applies to Draisaitl's game in your mind.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because I think Matty was there, and we had a conversation with about 12 reporters after the game around, and nobody took that as a negative. Based on their viewing of how well Leon played that night, I was offering him what I would consider a very strong compliment. You know, get back yesterday, and I got a text from one of my friends in the reporting world about how it was perceived as such a negative, and Leon being selfish. There was no intent that way. I was actually rewarding him with a very positive comment, and what I meant by my comments is that Leon skates for Leon. He back checks, he strips players of pucks, he works into position. That's for Leon and working in the system. When he skates for his teammates, he has players draped all over him. Guys that are trying to take him down and pull him out, and it opens up ice for other players. And in my opinion, you look at the goal that he set up for the winner for Strome in Boston, he had that. He went to the boards, he had guys draped all over him, he skated through that, he skated up the wall and was challenged, and as a result of it, open ice created for his teammates. So we used to talk in Detroit with Pavel Datsyuk, and this is why it's an ultimate compliment about how he used to skate for his teammates with people draped all over him. I think that Leon does and can do that, and when he does, he's awfully effective. So it was much more a compliment than anybody who wasn't at the game or maybe watching the Grey Cup instead of the game would take.
If I were there, I would have followed up in the moment.
There you go. It's because you're the crack reporter. Oh.
Todd,
you guys sort that out. I'm not getting involved in that.
Oscar Klefbom's season hasn't gone the way he's wanted it, obviously. You've coached a lot of different players, and you know they talk about confidence, and when they lose it, it's not just a snap of the finger, and you know you show them video and everything else. What other things can a coach do at times to try to help players when their confidence it seems on both sides of the pike right now is waning?
Well, there's a fine line for coaches because you're trying to correct or fix what's wrong underneath the hood with an individual player or a game. And if you continually bring him in and go to the repair mode, it plays on him as well. So we've got to catch him doing things right. We're trying to do that. You know, we've also got to accentuate the positives in his game and try and draw those out a little bit more so that the balance starts to come into play. Jay Woodcroft does a good job of putting together certain video clips of successes that he's had in the past and comparing them to situations that he's had now. That goes out to him. You know, sometimes an arm around the shoulders and just letting them know that we believe in them helps. Teammates as well. So there's when it goes on as long as it has, there's a catch-22 between trying to correct and fix and maintain confidence. We're trying to work somewhere in between right now.